Welcome and good evening to another Chat It Up series with the Coral Springs Museum of Art. I'm your host, Petra Galland, Assistant Director of the museum. And tonight we've got Nick Davis, digital illustrator connoisseur. I'm so excited to sit down with him and chit chat with him. But before we do that, it's very important that we thank all those people who allow us the opportunity to be able to do this, such as the Florida Department of State, Division of Cultural Affairs, the National Endowment for the Humanities, Florida Humanities Council, the Broward County Cultural Division, and the Broward County Board of County Commissioners, the City of Coral Springs, and the museum's board of directors, Scott Brook, Joy Carter, Joshua Simmons, Sean Serra, Larry Vignola, and of course the museum's members. We are so thankful that you guys all support the museum. So again, we can have these experiences like Chat It Up with Nick Davis tonight. We will also be having a moment this evening where you guys can all ask questions, because tonight it's about the viewers, the audience, and Nick Davis. So without further ado, let's chat it up a little bit with Nick. Hey, Nick.
Hello, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you doing tonight?
I can't complain. Just another
all right. As we were talking earlier, lots of rain, but what's new in Florida? Always the rain, right?
Always.
Hey, I want to give you a shout out and congratulations on your new studio. That's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
I'm excited to have that space. Create.
It's something new, so I'm excited for the new experience. So
yeah, I think it's important. Every writer or artist, painter, they need to have their space or their stage to create what they're creating, whether it's a book, a performance, for you, a piece of art. You're the storyteller, right? And these paintings are your stories in essence. All of these paintings, I mean, each and every individual one has a story to it. And I believe a lot of that story comes from your own experiences growing up in Saint Petersburg, Florida, within the Black community, correct?
Correct. Yes, they're always based on different thoughts, different emotions of what I think, and I think that could encourage our own community, and what I think that it's lacking. So I try to introduce a lot of colors, a lot of emotions that I guess are feared in our own communities. So I try to promote those.
Yeah, I think that it's important that you share those joys and struggles. Let's share a little bit about that in this piece here. I believe it's called Struggle. Can you tell us a little bit about this, Nick?
Well, yes. This is one of my favorite ones. It's based on a local artist from my city, Saint Petersburg. His name is Rod Wave, and it's just based on just the struggle. It's fear of tomorrow, basically fear of what's next. Because I believe in our community, we have the mindset of fearing. I want to say police. We have the mindset of fearing
right.
death, and we're always just scared of what's going to happen next. So we need to just let go and just I guess find our purpose.
Absolutely. And these stories that you tell are sort of these social commentaries of what your experience is. And I think that similar to a lot of your influencers, such as Basquiat, right? Yeah. And Kerry James Marshall, they do the same. They have these social commentaries of their own, whether it was Basquiat living in the Lower East Side of New York City in the 70s and 80s, or whether it was, Marshall living in, the neighborhood of Watts in Los Angeles during the Civil Rights Movement. You are the same in the sense that, you also share that those social commentaries, but of today, correct?
Yeah, for me personally, I believe all my life I had a struggle with just expressing emotions and just expressing who I am. And I think art is a way for me to express that without actually having to say anything. And for me, it's a stress release. It's a way for me to communicate with my community without actually saying a word.
Absolutely. Speaking of influencers, I know that, you, again, speaking of Basquiat and Kerry James Marshall, having them be your influencers there, tell us a little bit more about how they have influenced your work, whether technically and again, socially, the commentary aspect.
Basquiat, especially, he was just one who just went off just his own motivation. He just did whatever he wanted to do. He felt like just writing whatever he wanted to do. And I think that was a big encouragement for me. It just took me to stop caring about what people would think of me, stop caring about what people would say, and just go with what I was thinking, where my heart led me. And then on sides of Kerry James Marshall, he introduced his Black artwork because he saw a lack of. And I saw that with my own artwork. I believe I've been drawing all my life, so I've studied all kinds of different kinds of portraits, different kinds of things, trying to find my own purpose. So I'm always looking for what's lacking in the art community. And I saw there was a lack of emotion. And it's just lack of emotion and love. And that's what I'm really trying to encourage, just love. Love your community, love who you are, and forgive the ones who have hurt you.
That's beautiful. Now, you just mentioned that you grew up, that you were immersed in the world of art since you were little. So not only is Basquiat and Marshall influencers, but I believe your whole family are artists. Is right? Is that correct?
Everybody in my family pretty much draws.
You just can't get away from it, can you?
Some kind of performing arts. And I was raised in church, so I was a musician there.
Right.
I've done photography. It's just been a word of art always around me, so I always try to express that.
That's a beautiful thing to have for any child to grow up in the world of art like that. Yes. The one thing I will say that's absolutely incredible, that differentiates you from as the other influencers and artists that we were talking about earlier, is those eyes, those iconic eyes that you have. It's so iconic of your art. And as you can see here in the piece Growth, I mean, it just stands out, and it's so hypnotic and seduces the viewer in to want to hear more. What is the story? I mean, I get goosebumps when I think about it. But what is that story? Tell us the story. What is it about the eyes?
For me personally, I have a problem with actually looking people in the eye. I always have a problem with communication and just doing that focus on other people. So I believe I'm always drifting. I'm always daydreaming. I'm always thinking. My mind is always running. So with the eyes, I believe they're always telling a story. I believe when you see me in public, I'm always by myself, listening to music. I'm always looking like I'm in my own little world. And I think those eyes, they tell my story without actually saying anything.
That's right. I was going to say, that's exactly what the eyes do, right? For us, the old adage is, the eyes are the window to the soul or to the mind, right? And, I think it's very true in your pieces, because you do have an aspect, and actually it's a large part of your work, is the aspect of mental health and mental health awareness, and how important that is to discuss it, because it's something that's not normally and often discussed in the Black community. And I think it's a moment right now in time to begin that discussion, and the importance of allowing people to say, I could use some help. Can you help me out? And you open that discussion up about mental health. Can you tell us a little bit about that? This piece, especially, running from a state of mind.
I believe this piece right here is very relatable to me, because like I said earlier, my mind I'm always thinking. As a person who deals with anxiety, I'm always thinking about what other people are always thinking of me. I can be walking to the store and I'm thinking if somebody's watching me, or if somebody's trying to harm me or something like that. So I believe with this picture, it shows what he's expecting for the community. He expects caution tapes. He expects death in the pic, but he doesn't expect love. And it's just, we run from a state of mind, but he needs to accept love instead of being scared from it. And I believe the man running is the man who is me. I'm just constantly running from that train of thought, running that something's going to happen. Like I said, as a person who deals with epilepsy, deals with seizures, I'm always scared for tomorrow. So I have to, I guess, pretty much let go. And I just have to get away from that mindset. And I'm always trying to find new ways. And that's why I use drawing. I use it as a way to give a peace of mind.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about in the past how art is a reflection of yourself too, and some of the characters in the pieces.
Most definitely. I believe all these all come from ideas. Most of them, I can be just sitting in church or just be sitting in the back of the seat of a car, and it's just my mind is just running, and it's just I see the ocean, I see the clouds, and I just feel so appreciative of life, and I just believe I can just transfer that into my art. And I just, like I said, it's just a hard way for me to talk. So art is an expression for me.
Absolutely, and it's an incredible way of expressing oneself, very evident in the pieces that we've seen thus far. As you're talking about mental health, we do want to remind everybody who's listening, our viewers who have friends who might need a little help as well. We want to continue and extend that dialogue to those who may need it. Please remember that there are crisis text hotlines out there. If you don't feel comfortable getting on the phone, you can do it on a text on your phone and just talk to someone. Text HOME to 741-741 to connect with the crisis counselor. They're there to help you if you need to talk to someone. It's a tough time right now for a lot of different reasons, so please go talk to someone if you need it, okay? As we're talking about mental health and opening up that dialogue, I just want to say how refreshing it is, because you really sort of melt together where we talk about mental health awareness in addition to education.
Yes.
Mental health awareness and education is really key, and being able to combine the two. And in this piece here, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece, the power of education and how we need to support that. So tell me a little bit about this piece here. And after that, I want to know what's next for you.
I believe the key to imagination is education. The endless possibilities with imaginations are endless. But I believe a lot of us believe there's artist blocks, and there's so many things stopping us from creating that creativity or that imagination. But we have to realize ideas come from other creative ideas. So we have to always gain wisdom. We have to always read books. We have to always educate ourselves on what happened in the past to get to what's going to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm. So what is your future?
For me, I'm just all about helping my community. My goal is to open up a school one day for digital arts, just to help the younger Black community.
Yes, that would be great.
Emotions, just to show them paths to express their emotions through different kinds of arts.
I think that's a beautiful thing. I know that in the fall, you're going to have an exhibition with us at the Coral Springs Museum of Art satellite location at the City of Coral Springs City Hall. We're very excited about that. So is everybody else. We're thrilled to have that. That's going to be an amazing show at the City of Coral Springs. We're glad to have so much support from the commission and the Public Arts Committee backing you up every step of the way there. So we're excited about that. That's going to be happening in the fall. So now is the really fun part. Nick, thank you. You did an amazing job. I want to ask you a really fun cuckoo question. So as I told you, our Chatted Up series, we're kind of flipping the switch here. And I'm going to ask you a little fun question. And now this is something that, everybody gets a chance to ask every time we have somebody on. You're the first. So we appreciate you being a beta right now. Okay, so the question is, what's your cell phone wallpaper?
My cell phone wallpaper is actually me and my wife.
Oh, can you show it? Let's see how close you can get to the camera. Yeah. And you can show your beautiful wife too. Let's see. Oh, I love it. Look at you. Praise. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so now we're going to let the audience and our viewers at YouTube and Facebook, we're so happy that you guys are with us this evening with Nick Davis and the Coral Springs Museum of Art. We're going to ask some questions, and we've got quite a few over here. So let's take a look. Okay. Let's see what Tom Page has to think. It says here, do you feel pressure to create art with a social stance? Really, that's a good question.
I think yes. I would say yes. As a person who already dealt with anxiety, I'm always worried about what people are going to say, I'm still trying to, every day is a process of getting out of impressing other people. So I would say there's always a constant pressure on me. Yeah.
I think a lot of artists feel that way, depending on what's happening, especially right now. There's so much happening. There's so much to talk about. So thank you, Tom. We appreciate that. All right, let's see. I see shades of Roman Bearden in some of these on some of these pieces. Can you share a little more on the influence of family and other artists in your community on your work? This is from Jason Baylor Lash.
My influence is literally just everyday life. Some of my pieces are, like I say, self-portraits of myself. Some of them are just basic ideas and just creativity that I see in my head. I can just be listening to music or watching something on TV, but my mind has to be focused on something. So there's always a constant influence. I believe my community is my biggest influence, though.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Incredible work. What is your favorite part of the artistic process when creating?
I would say coloring it. When you have the sketch can be one thing, but the
tell us a little bit more. I don't mean to interrupt you, but tell us a little bit more, because we sort of brushed over the fact that you're a digital illustrator artist, and tell us a little bit about the tools and that you use.
I use everything with my iPad. The iPad and Apple Pencil through Procreate app. I use layers and stuff like that, and it's just every drawing takes about 5 to 6 hours. I'm constantly drawing. I draw every single day. So I think my favorite process, like I said, is just coloring, just actually seeing the final product being built together.
Fantastic. And again, I love your work. How do you create it? And I think, as you mentioned, and what's the program you use? Do you use Procreate? Do you still use that, or do you use a different program now?
Procreate. I still use Procreate. How do I create it? It's just through Procreate. It's just, like I said, a bunch of ideas and just influences. You can use everyday life, just use music, just use what you see. I believe if you can see it mentally, you can create it physically.
I love that. I love that. And you've told me, how many pieces do you create in a week?
They have slowed down, but it's now about I want to say about 7 to 10.
7 to 10 pieces?
Yes, like I said, I'm in my house. I draw all day long.
Well, you are a very creative person, and we love the fact that you're creating that many pieces, because your artwork's incredible. Now, one question that I would like to ask at some point is that do you think you'd like to teach a workshop at our museum?
I would love to.
I would love for you to teach a workshop at our museum too. I think that we need to make that happen. And so we hope to tell all our viewers out there that be on the lookout for a workshop with the digital illustrator, Nick Davis. He's going to show you the tips and the skills and all the fun stuff about creating a workshop. So I'm looking forward to that. So there's something that Natasha and I both have a question on. And the question is, a lot of times we see a red balloon in your pieces. Does it signify anything in particular?
I would say it just signifies joy.
Joy.
Happiness. Wherever you go, you have to think about in the background, there's always going to be some kind of joy, some kind of happiness. And despite of sadness, despite of anger, there's joy.
And I'm going to leave it there. That is a beautiful thing to leave it on. I have had such a pleasure tonight talking to you, Nick. This has been incredible. I'm looking forward to your exhibition in the fall at City Hall in Coral Springs. I'm excited about the future of our workshop with you for digital art. We're going to make that happen. And I want to thank all of our viewers on Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well. And we're going to take a little bit of a break here at Chat It Up for a little bit, but be on the lookout for us, because we're coming back, and we're coming back strong. So next month, we're going to have new stuff on the horizon. So please join us then. Again, thanks to Nick Davis. And thank you again for everybody who supports the Coral Springs Museum of Art, and we'll see you soon.